Hey Maarten, welcome. I'm very glad that I'm talking to you. We just have been listening to some people that have experienced the impact of disinformation in their sectors and in their jobs. But I'm lucky to talk to one of the co-founders of Lead Stories, a Belgian co-founder of an American fact-checking platform. We know each other, but Maarten, the audience might not know you yet. So would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, I'm the inventor of Trendalizer, which is a tool to find out what's going viral on the internet. And a couple of years ago, I co-founded Lead Stories with some American friends, and we use Trendalizer to find the most viral stories, and then we write about the ones that are not true. And that has been a success. It's been growing and growing. And since last year, we work with Facebook to help them with finding and dealing with misinformation and fake news, if you wish.
Yeah, that's a tough term, right? Fake news. Why is that a tough term, actually? You think?
Because it has become a loaded term. It means different things to different people. Some people talk about the media being fake news. Other people define it as a specific subset of Macedonian teenage websites and everything in between. So the term fake news has been on its way out.
Yeah. So would it be better to talk about disinformation then? Is that a better term?
Yeah, disinformation, misinformation, false information. There's all kinds of terms, and they all mean different things.
Is there any difference between them? Can you maybe
Yeah, some of it has to do with the intent. So, is it intended to deceive, or is it just false, but somebody is spreading it because they don't know any better and they just want to help? So the same piece of content can also be spread with different motives. Like some Russian troll might spread the same false meme, intending to sow discord and strife, but some nice grandmother from Oklahoma might spread that meme because she really believes she's helping her friends with it. So the lines are a bit blurry.
all right, so then for the audience to summarize, officially misinformation and disinformation differ. Disinformation has the intent to mislead, whereas misinformation could just be a false fact. But it becomes blurry, of course, if somebody is sharing without malintent a message that was once intended to mislead. Right? That is the issue we're dealing with. Yeah. Okay, so then if these terms are difficult, that's already an easy start to start talking about COVID-19 disinformation, and that's why we're actually here. Thanks for this brief explanation. There has been discussions on whether there is an infodemic. So there's a pandemic of corona, COVID-19, but also an infodemic at the same time. Do you agree we can talk about the infodemic, and what would it be, an infodemic?
Yes, we've definitely seen an increase in the spread of false information related to coronavirus. But we see the same dynamics at work that were already at work before the whole COVID-19 crisis. So people are still spreading false information online with pretty much the same motives, but it has just intensified. And yeah, the topic has changed to coronavirus instead of just Bernie Sanders' tax policy or claims about the environment or climate change. People were saying things about that weren't true before, but now they're saying these things about coronavirus. And some people, they do it just for profit. So they just want to get likes and shares and clicks and grow their Facebook pages and their Twitter accounts, maybe to sell them later to advertisers. And they will just post anything that will get them likes and shares and clicks, and they don't care if it's true or false. So unfortunately, a lot of misinformation is very viral. People like to share that sort of stuff because they believe they are helping other people with it, and so some unscrupulous people are taking advantage of that. And then there are also the people who spread these kinds of things because they don't know any better and they really have a desire to help their fellow men. Like a lot of the false cures that we were seeing in the beginning of the crisis, that drinking boiled garlic water or breathing in hot air from a hairdryer, or that gargling with salt water would cure you from the virus. People were sharing those things because they wanted to help their friends and family, not because they thought, I'm going to spread this information. So it's a very natural reflex. If you have a bit of information that you think can protect or help your friends and family, you really have to be an utter bastard not to want to spread that and tell everybody. Unfortunately, many people don't have the reflex to check first if what they're about to send to everybody is actually true and might not actually harm them or give them a false sense of security.
You're saying there's people earning money by spreading clickbait and information that is click targeted. There's in fact people, disinformation is useful sometimes, or feeds on the fact that people might want to help out their family, want to inform them about threats and fears. But there's also a source often to the patient zero that starts spreading this. What could be the motives, the malicious motives of these patient zeros to start a viral message?
Well, that's also, there's a huge variation there. Some of these things start out as jokes. We saw a claim in the beginning that coronavirus was also infecting rolls of toilet paper. And then we saw that as a joke with all the people buying huge loads of toilet paper in the supermarkets. But then some people started believing it and spreading it as if it was true. There's also simple misunderstandings. The claim about gargling salt water, that's actually on the CDC's website as not as a cure for a virus, but what you should do if your throat is sore, if you have a throat infection. To ease the pain, to lessen the pain, you can try gargling with ice or with salt water or some other tricks. And it makes the pain go away. It doesn't make the infection or the virus go away. But yeah, people put that on a graphic and they changed the text a little bit and they said it kills the virus, which it doesn't. So it's a simple misunderstanding. And then, of course, there is the misinformation for political motives. Some people like to exaggerate or downplay certain statistics to boost their cause, like this virus isn't that bad, or it's really terrible and we should do X, or we shouldn't do Y, and that's why they use misleading statistics. And other political motives might be just sowing discord. The most famous example is the Russians. They've always tried to support content and spread content that would cause people to fight with each other. In the 2016 election in the US, they supported both Trump and Hillary and Black Lives Matters with memes and messages and trolls, and so they didn't care who won as long as people were violently disagreeing about it. The idea being, when they're too busy disagreeing with each other, they can't get anything done. So they always try to raise the level of disunity.
You're saying that in the 2016 elections, even one of the tactics of disinformation was to both have a pro and con part in the debate and just cause confusion for political purposes?
Yes, there are examples that came out of the investigations of fake demonstrations being organized through puppets. One for Blue Lives Matter, so supporting the police, and another one for Black Lives Matter. And then on purpose, organizing them just a few blocks away from each other, so and hoping there would be violence. Like they didn't care which cause had the best claim or who was right. They just wanted to cause a fight or a riot. And we're seeing that as well with the 5G causes coronavirus claims, Russia has always tried to stoke fears against 5G because their own technology lags behind. So they are afraid they will they will miss the boat. Mm-hmm. So anything they can do to delay it or to postpone it in other countries, they will use. So Russia Today has been publishing articles questioning the safety of 5G, and those then get picked up by other sites. And that's another topic that I wanted to talk about, is that with the coronavirus infodemic, a lot of the pre-existing conspiracy theories and fake news narratives, they started to incorporate elements from the coronavirus current events. Like the 5G causes coronavirus is the perfect example. It's total nonsense because there's also coronavirus in countries where there is no 5G. But then also the existing conspiracy theories in the United States about a secret cabal that is secretly running everything in the deep state, and now the deep state also includes Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates and the World Health Organization, and also existing narratives about vaccines and conspiracies about vaccines. They now incorporate the whole coronavirus story as well.
So you're saying that you actually see a sort of assembly of conspiracies where previous conspiracy theories might actually jump on the corona crisis and insecurities and fears. What could be the motives behind that? Why would people merge these stories together?
That's typical for conspiracy theories, is that every fact that people who believe in conspiracies, every fact that they're confronted with must fit somehow into the larger conspiracy. Even if it's contradictory to the narrative of the conspiracy, then it means this is just a distraction, this is a false flag, this is all part of the plan. Wait, you'll see, eventually it will be proven that this is not real, or this is just what they want you to think, or it's a distraction. So everything has to fit into the conspiracy at some point. And
conspiracy?
Sorry?
And if something doesn't fit the conspiracy?
Then it's obviously not true, and it's planted, and it's a lie by the media, or it's yeah, there's plenty of explanations. Or you question the motives of the person questioning it. Like if you, well, we've seen stories that tens of thousands of children are being rescued from underground tunnels in the US by secret military units, and they're taking down this giant pedophile network. Supposedly, one of these tunnels was in the middle of New York City under Central Park. Like, explain to me how you hide a major military operation in the middle of Central Park in New York. Nobody sees anything. There's no video. The military says they don't know anything about it. No media has seen it. Nobody filmed from their window. No soldiers leaked video footage. But if you point all that out, then you're suddenly trying to protect the pedophile networks or some sort of other.
How does that make that must difficult your work if you problematize your work, if you actually want to debunk and fact check a story, but the conspiracy theorists will simply say it's not true and it only feeds back into their conspiracy. How do you deal with that?
Well, some of the people who believes in conspiracies are beyond rescue. Nothing you can post on the internet in a simple article or fact check will ever convince them that that what they are thinking and saying is just delusional. Only a psychiatrist or some serious life-changing event or an intervention by friends and family that takes several weeks can maybe hope to cure these delusions. So I don't make myself any illusion about that. We're not going to convince that percentage of people that are beyond reason. But with fact checks, you can protect and help the people who are confronted with these theories and who are wondering, well, what about these tunnels in New York? And then if you point out there is no evidence, or this is what would have to be true in order for this to be remotely plausible, and nothing about this makes any sense. There is no evidence for it. Then, oh yeah, right, yeah. Why would I believe this one crazy guy who is also saying other stuff about aliens and crop circles? Right, yeah. I probably shouldn't take this too seriously. Same goes with all the other things about 5G. Some people might legitimately wonder, yeah, this is a new technology. Is this thing safe? Has it been tested? If you point out, yes, it has been tested, here are the tests, and what about all these videos of dead birds? Well, those videos were filmed in places where there was no 5G. Oh, yeah, right. So the persons who keep insisting that this was filmed in places with 5G, what's their motive? Why do they keep insisting, even though there is overwhelming proof that these videos are not what they say they are? And that helps protect that middle group. Like, oh yeah, right. These people are using nonsense statistics and disproven videos to push a point. What do they really believe? Why are they really spreading this?
Yep. And do you maybe, because your lead stories is very busy, checking currently as well stories that can be false or flagged as conspiracies. Do you have an example for the audience to make it lively? What lead stories has been involved in figuring out lately around COVID-19?
COVID-19. There's of course the statistics. So in the US, the debate is: should there be a lockdown? Should there be quarantines? How severe should the measures be? And it's become a totally politicized discussion. So people are questioning the official numbers. And one of the major claims that we've seen over the past few weeks was that the CDC suddenly readjusted the number of deaths downwards by about 30,000. When it was 60,000, they suddenly revised it downwards to only 30,000 or something. And that was simply because the CDC is keeping two sets of statistics. One is the daily statistic that every state reports to the CDC every day. Like every day, the states collect information from hospitals and morgues and care homes, etc. Like how many people died of COVID-19 today? Okay, that number. Okay, we're calling Washington, and they add everything up. Okay, today we had 1,275 dead, and they add it to the total and they publish that number. The other set of statistics that the CDC is maintaining is based on actual death certificates, and this is a register that they've been keeping for years for scientific research. For everybody who dies in the United States, they record the cause or causes of death, and they tabulate that, and so they can make statistics and base policy on those statistics. Like how many people are dying from cancer, how many are dying from heart disease, how many have the flu, how many die from suicide, car crashes, murder, you name it. And then they can decide, okay, we need to spend more money on cancer research, or we should do more on suicide prevention or whatever. But because those statistics need to be really detailed, and it doesn't matter if they are a few weeks out of date because it's over longer periods of time, these statistics, they lag behind. It also depends on from which state do the death certificates come. Some send them electronically, others send paperwork. It has to be checked, tabulated, calculated. So these numbers are 2 or 3 weeks behind. And of course, when there were 60,000 deaths in the real-time statistics, there were only 30,000 COVID-19 deaths in the delayed statistics. But people jumped on that gap to say, look, this proves they are lying about the statistics and blah, 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 blah. By the way, now the delayed statistics have overtaken that 60,000 number. So the claim that they suddenly decreased it, yeah, it's complete nonsense.
This confusion about the rates led to a politicized discussion about the justification for certain measurements.
And then there is one site that publishes an article about it. CDC quietly readjusts the number downward by 32,000. And then people screenshot the headline of that article, and the image of the screenshot goes viral. And when the article is later taken down or corrected, nobody sees it.
Damage is done.
So the damage is done. And then people who are already convinced that the numbers are overblown, they will keep sharing that image and keep yelling that they are lying about the numbers, etc., etc. And
so then what work needs to be done if it's that simple to just make an article and get some screenshots in the right algorithms? What work needs to be done to prevent this from happening?
Yeah, well, I'm maybe a bit biased because we are in the Facebook third-party fact-checking partnership, but I think what Facebook is doing, labeling these items of information and providing links to fact checks, is actually a really good idea. Quietly deleting them, like some other platforms do, that only leads to suspicions like, why are they removing this? They are trying to hide the truth, etc., etc. What are they trying to keep from us? What are they trying to hide? Instead, what Facebook does is, this has been identified as misinformation, but if you want, you can still see it. And here are one or more fact checks that explain exactly what is wrong with this information. Okay, some people still say, my information was fact checked. That's censorship. I disagree with that. Censorship is if you quietly delete it. What Facebook is doing is adding more information and giving you more information. And then you can still choose to believe whatever you want. And most people do. I mean, those people who are absolutely invested in their conspiracy theory, no number of fact checks is ever going to convince them. But yeah, they get mad if some people point out, hey, this number you're waving about, it's not exactly correct or misinterpreted. Here's the real story, or here is the full story. But still, I think that's the way to go, yep. Labeling that stuff.
So if I can summarize it, I hear there's motives of financial means, just simply misunderstanding, actually wanting to help, and then political reasons to cause confusion, which all create disinformation for different reasons. And then during COVID-19, you have seen an increase in conspiracy theories, and even more the assembly of certain stories coming together. And the whole purpose is to make sure that you flag the information, get to the patient zero, so you can get the source out quickly. And like what I think, and then I will turn myself to the audience, what I think is really important to take from this message is that it's important to have the right access to information. And I think Lead Stories is an example of an organization that helps you provide more complex narratives. Always try to inform yourself properly. And I want to take the opportunity to thank you, Maarten, for this discussion and this explanation of what you have seen happening. I hope we can continue these chats, and it's very important to keep discussing them. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.